The Vorathian Empire had ruled the stars for 300 years. They had conquered 17 star systems. They had crushed 42 species under their boots. No one had ever stopped them. No one had ever tried. High Commander Thelvax sat in his chair on the bridge of the Imperial warship Times Dominion *. His gray skin stretched tight over his skull. His 4 eyes studied the blue planet on the screen before him. The planet was beautiful. Blue oceans, green lands, white clouds. It looked peaceful. What do we know about them? Thelvax asked. His science officer pulled up the data. They call themselves humans. They have been sending radio signals into space for about 100 years. They have primitive rockets. They have nuclear weapons but have only used them twice on their own kind. They fight among themselves constantly. Different nations, different beliefs. They are divided. Thelvax made a sound like laughter. Divided species are easy to break. They will turn on each other when we attack. Standard protocol. Destroy their largest cities. Wait for surrender. Send in ground forces to collect workers. No one on the bridge questioned him. This was how it always went. This was how it had gone 42 times before. The attack came on a Tuesday morning, Earth time. 12 Vorathian warships appeared in the sky above Earth. They did not send warnings. They did not ask for surrender. They simply opened fire. The first beam hit New York City. One moment, millions of people were going to work, drinking coffee, and living their lives. The next moment, there was only fire and ash. The Statue of Liberty melted like a candle. The buildings fell like toys. Moscow was next, then Beijing, then London, then Mumbai, then Sydney, then Cairo, then Tokyo, then Mexico City, then Lagos, then Berlin, then Paris, then Geneva. 12 cities, 12 beams of light from the sky. 12 million degrees of heat. The whole thing took less than 1 hour. 2 billion people died before lunch. The Vorathians waited in orbit. They had done this before. Soon, the survivors would send messages begging for mercy. They would offer anything to make the attacks stop. Gold, resources, their own people as slaves. It always happened this way. They waited one day. No message came. They waited 2 days. Still nothing. They waited 3 days. The blue planet below was quiet. On the 4th day, something strange happened. Instead of surrender, the humans began to dig. They pulled bodies from the rubble. They built shelters. They organized. They did not fight each other. They helped each other. Thelvax watched the reports with confusion. Why are they not surrendering? Why are they not begging? His advisor had no answer. On the 5th day, a message finally came from Earth, but it was not a surrender. The message came from the ruins of Geneva. The camera was shaky. The picture was bad, but the woman on the screen was clear enough. Her name was General Adrienne Cole. She was 53 years old. She had served in the military for 30 years. She had been in Geneva for a United Nations meeting. When the attack came, she had watched the building fall around her. She had crawled out of the rubble with a broken arm and burns on half her face. Now she stood in front of the camera. Behind her, rescue workers carried bodies. Smoke rose into the sky. Children cried somewhere off-screen. General Cole looked into the camera. Her eyes were hard. Her voice was steady. She did not shake. She did not cry. To whoever is in those ships above our world, she said, I am General Adrienne Cole of the United States Army. But today, I speak for all of humanity. She paused. She looked down at something in her hand. It was a photograph. A young woman holding a baby. Her daughter. Her grandson. Both had been in Mumbai. 5 days ago, you attacked our planet without warning, Cole continued. You destroyed our cities. You killed our families. You burned our children in their beds. Her voice grew harder. You expected us to surrender. You expected us to beg. You expected us to break. She stepped closer to the camera. Her burned face filled the screen. You were wrong. We are humans. We have fought each other for thousands of years. We have survived ice ages and plagues and world wars. We have split the atom and walked on our moon. We do not break. We do not bow, and we do not forget. She held up the photograph of her daughter and grandson. You took everything from me. You took everything from billions of my people. And now I make you a promise. Not as a general. Not as an American. But as a human being. Her eyes burned with something cold and terrible. We will find you. We will learn your technology. We will build ships of our own. And we will come for you. Not today. Not tomorrow. But someday. And when that day comes, you will learn what humanity does to those who hurt our children. She lowered the photograph. You struck Earth first. Remember that. Because we are coming for you. The message ended. On the bridge of the Times, Dominion *, High Commander Thel Vax stared at the blank screen. Then he laughed. His officers laughed with him. Brave words from a dying species, Thel Vax said. They have no ships. They have no weapons that can touch us. In 1 generation, they will be our slaves. In 2 generations, they will forget they ever had a homeworld. He gave the order to begin landing ground forces. 3 transport ships descended toward Earth. They carried 10,000 Varathian soldiers, the best warriors in the Empire. None of them came back. Humans with primitive weapons ambushed them in the ruins. Humans who had lost everything and feared nothing. Humans who fought with a fury the Varathians had never seen. Thel Vax lost 10,000 soldiers in 1 week. He ordered a retreat and called for reinforcements. He told himself it meant nothing. He told himself humans would eventually fall like all the others. But late at night, alone in his quarters, he sometimes thought about the woman on the screen. The burned face. The steady voice. The cold fire in her eyes. And for the first time in his long career, High Commander Thel Vax felt something he had never felt before. He felt doubt. Far below, on the burned and broken Earth, General Adrian Cole stood in a command center built from rubble. Around her, officers from every nation on Earth worked together. American beside Russian, Chinese beside Indian, Israeli beside Iranian. The old divisions were gone. The old hatreds were forgotten. There was only one enemy now. Cole looked at the stars through a broken window. We are coming for you, she whispered. I promise. And humanity began to prepare. The Varathian Empire expected humanity to die slowly. They expected the survivors to starve. They expected the nations to fight each other for the last scraps of food and water. They expected chaos and collapse. They did not understand humans at all. 6 months after the attack, something impossible happened. Every nation on Earth signed a single document. The United Earth Alliance was born. No more borders. No more separate armies. No more fighting each other. Every resource, every scientist, every soldier now worked toward one goal: survival and revenge. General Adrian Cole was named Supreme Commander of the new United Earth Defense Force. She was the face of humanity's pain. She was the voice of humanity's anger. When she spoke, people listened. When she gave orders, people obeyed. Her first order was simple: find me their technology. Learn how it works. Build something better. The Varathians had left things behind. Crashed scout ships. Destroyed transport vessels. Dead soldiers with strange equipment. Human scientists worked day and night to understand it all. They did not sleep. They did not rest. They had buried their children. They had nothing left but purpose. Within 1 year, humans understood Varathian energy weapons. Within 2 years, they understood the engines that allowed travel faster than light. Within 3 years, the first human starship rose from the factories of what used to be Germany. They called it the Times Remembrance *. It was ugly. It was rough. It was held together with human stubbornness and desperate hope. But it flew. It flew faster than light. And it carried weapons that could hurt the enemy. General Cole stood on the bridge as the Times Remembrance made its first flight. She was 56 years old now. The burns on her face had healed into hard scars. She walked with a slight limp from injuries that never fully mended. But her eyes were the same. Cold, determined, unbroken. This is the first, she said to her crew. There will be thousands more. There will be thousands more. The Vorathians learned about the human ship. They laughed again. One ship? Against an empire of 10,000 vessels? It was nothing. It was a joke. High Commander Thelvax sent a fleet of 50 ships to destroy the Times, Remembrance Times, and finish the conquest of Earth. The 50 ships met the Times Remembrance Times near the orbit of Mars. The Vorathians expected an easy victory. The battle lasted 6 hours. The Times Remembrance Times was destroyed. But it took 19 Vorathian ships with it. The human crew fought until the last moment. They rammed their burning ship into the Vorathian flagship. They died with their fingers on the triggers. The remaining Vorathian ships limped home with stories that troubled the Empire. The humans had not run. The humans had not surrendered. The humans had smiled as they died, knowing they had hurt their enemy. What kind of species was this? 3 years later, Thelvax sent a second invasion fleet. 200 ships this time. Surely that would be enough. Earth now had 50 ships of its own. They were better than the Times, Remembrance *, faster, stronger. Human engineers had improved the Vorathian designs. Human scientists had invented new weapons. The Second Battle of Earth lasted 3 days. The Vorathians won, but they lost 80 ships. The humans lost all 50 of their vessels, but every crew fought to the death. Not one human ship surrendered. Not one human captain ran away. And while the battle raged in space, something else happened on Earth. Every factory worked. Every person contributed. Old and young. Rich and poor. They built more ships. They trained more soldiers. They prepared for the next fight. General Cole watched the battle from her command center deep underground. She was 60 years old now. Her hair had turned white. Her body was tired. But her spirit was iron. "How many ships did we lose?" she asked. "All of them," her aide replied. "How many did they lose?" 80. Cole nodded slowly. "Then, we won. They came with 200. They left with 120. Next time, they will come with 500. We will have 200 ships. We will take 300 of theirs. And then we will be equal. And then we will be stronger." She looked at the young officers around her. Many of them had been children on the day of the attack. They had grown up with nothing but war. They knew nothing but hate for the enemy. They would fight until their last breath. "We are not defending anymore," Cole announced. "We are preparing to attack." Year 7. Earth had 300 ships. The Vorathians came with 500. The Third Battle of Earth was the bloodiest yet. Both sides lost half their forces. The Vorathians retreated. They did not try to land ground troops. They had learned that lesson. Year 8. Earth had 400 ships. No Vorathian fleet came. The Empire was busy. Strange reports came from other parts of Vorathian space. Other conquered species were starting to rebel. They had heard about the humans. They had heard about the species that refused to die. Hope was spreading through the galaxy like a disease the Vorathians could not cure. Year 9. Earth had 800 ships. General Cole began planning something no one had dared to imagine. Not defense. Attack. Year 10, the anniversary of the day the sky burned. General Adrian Cole stood before the United Earth Council. She was 63 years old. She was tired, her bones hurt, her scars ached. But she stood straight and tall. 10 years ago they came to our world, she said. They burned our cities. They killed our people. They expected us to break. She looked at the faces before her. Leaders from every nation. Scientists who had built miracles. Soldiers who had fought demons. We did not break. We bent. We bled. We suffered. But we did not break. She pressed a button. A holographic map appeared. It showed Vorathian space, dozens of star systems, hundreds of worlds. Today, we have 2,000 ships, 8 million soldiers, weapons they have never seen, technology they cannot match. She pointed at the map. Today, we stop defending. Today, we start hunting. The council was silent. Operation Homecoming begins now, Cole announced. We are taking the war to them. We are freeing their slaves. We are burning their bases. And we are not stopping until we stand in their capital and make them pay for what they did. She raised her fist. For Earth. For our dead. For our children, who will never know fear again. 2,000 voices answered her. For Earth! 1 week later, the fleet launched. 2,000 ships, 8 million soldiers. The largest military force in human history. General Adrian Cole stood on the bridge of the New Times Remembrance Asterisk, the flagship of the fleet. She looked at the stars. We are coming for you, she said quietly. Just like I promised. The fleet jumped to faster than light speed and vanished into the darkness between stars. The war was about to change. The planet was called Kethril. It was beautiful. Blue oceans like Earth. Green forests that stretched for thousands of miles. Mountains that touched the clouds. The Varathian elite came here for vacations. Governors and generals built mansions by the sea. Their children played on white sand beaches. Kethril had never known war. It was deep inside Varathian space. Safe. Protected. Untouchable. Until the humans came. The defense fleet around Kethril was small. 20 ships. Mostly old vessels with tired crews. They were not warriors. They were guards who had never guarded anything. The human fleet appeared at dawn, local time. 200 ships. They came out of faster-than-light travel, like wolves entering a field of sheep. The battle lasted 11 minutes. General Adrian Cole watched from the bridge of the Times Remembrance Asterisk. Her face showed nothing. Her voice was calm. Status report. All enemy ships destroyed, General. No survivors. Our losses are 0. Cole nodded. She had expected this. The real battle was not in space. The real battle was in the minds of the people below. Open a channel to the planet. All frequencies. I want every screen, every radio, every device to hear this. The communication officer obeyed. Channel open, General. Cole stood and walked to the center of the bridge. She looked into the camera. Her scarred face filled screens across the entire planet. People of Kethril. I am General Adrian Cole of the United Earth Defense Force. 10 years ago, your empire came to my world. They gave us no warning. They offered no chance to surrender. They simply killed us. They burned 12 of our cities. They murdered 2 billion of our people. Men, women, children. They died screaming while your empire laughed. She paused. Below, on the planet, millions of Varathians watched in shock. Your empire expected us to die. We did not die. Your empire expected us to surrender. We did not surrender. Your empire expected us to forget. We have not forgotten. She stepped closer to the camera. I could destroy this planet. I have the weapons. I have the ships. One order from me, and Kethril becomes ash. Just like New York. Just like Mumbai. Just like the cities where my daughter and grandson burned alive. She let those words hang in the air. But I am not going to do that. Because we are not like you. We do not kill children. We do not murder innocents. We are humans. And we are better than you. She straightened her uniform. Instead, I am going to show you something. Something your empire never showed us. The screens across Kethril changed. They showed videos. Earth before the attack. Beautiful cities. Happy people. Children playing in parks. Families eating dinner. Ordinary life on a blue planet. Then the screens showed the attack. The beams from the sky. The cities burning. The bodies. The crying survivors searching through rubble for their loved ones. A mother holding her dead child. An old man screaming at the sky. Then the screens showed the aftermath. The mass graves. The orphans. The broken survivors learning to live again. Millions of Varathians watched in silence. Many of them had never thought about what their empire did. They had been told that conquered species were primitive. Animals. Not real people. Now they saw the truth. General Cole appeared on screen again. We did nothing to you. We did not attack you. We did not threaten you. We were alone on our little planet, living our little lives. And your empire came and burned us for no reason except that they could. Her voice grew harder. Now we are here. We have destroyed your military bases on this planet. We have taken your weapons. We have freed the slaves your people kept hidden in the mines. She leaned forward. But we have not harmed one civilian, not one child, not one innocent. Because that is what makes us different from you. She held up the photograph she always carried. Her daughter. Her grandson. My family died in the attack on Earth. I have spent 10 years building an army to avenge them. I have every reason to hate you. I have every reason to burn your world like you burned mine. She put the photograph away, but my daughter would not want that. She was a teacher. She believed in kindness. She believed that all thinking beings had value. If I become a monster to defeat monsters, then she died for nothing. She stepped back. So here is my message to the Vorathian Empire. We are coming for you. We will destroy your fleets. We will free your slaves. We will tear down your government. But we will not become you. We will not murder your children. We will not burn your cities. Her eyes grew cold. We will simply make you face justice. And that is worse than death. Because you will have to live with what you have done. The transmission ended. On the bridge of the Times, Remembrance *, Cole sat down in her chair. Her hands were shaking slightly. Her aide brought her water. "General," her aide said softly. "That was powerful. But some of the soldiers are angry. They wanted revenge. They wanted to hurt them." Cole sipped her water slowly. "I know. I want revenge too. Every night, I dream about burning their worlds. Every morning, I wake up wanting to kill them all." She looked at her aide. The young woman was only 25. She had been 15 on the day of the attack. "But if we do that, we lose ourselves. We become what we hate. And then, they win. Even if they lose." She stood up and walked to the window. The beautiful planet turned slowly below. "We will defeat them by being better than them. We will show the galaxy that humans do not destroy because they can. We choose mercy. We choose justice. That is our strength. That is why we will win." The fleet stayed at Kethril for 3 days. They destroyed every military target. They freed 10,000 slaves from hidden camps. They captured weapons and supplies. Then they left. They did not take prisoners. They did not hurt civilians. They simply moved on to the next target. Behind them, the people of Kethril stared at the sky in confusion. They had expected death. They had expected fire and pain. Instead, they had received a lesson, and across Vorathian space, the story spread. The humans were coming. The humans could not be stopped. But the humans did not kill innocents. The humans offered something the Empire never had: hope. On a dozen enslaved worlds, beings who had given up began to dream again. The humans were coming. The humans would free them. And in the capital of the Vorathian Empire, High Commander Thelvax read the reports with growing fear. The humans were not just winning battles. They were winning hearts. They were turning the Empire's own subjects against it. For the first time, he understood the truth. The humans were not just fighting a war. They were building a revolution. And he had started it all 10 years ago, when he gave the order to attack a little blue planet. He had created his own destruction, and there was nothing he could do to stop it. 5 years passed after Kethril. 5 years of war. 5 years of blood and fire and sacrifice. The human fleet moved through Vorathian space like a storm that would not end. General Adrian Cole was 68 years old now. Her body was failing. Her doctors told her to rest. She refused. She would rest when the war was over. She would rest when justice was done. The war had changed. It was no longer humans against Vorathians. It was something bigger. On the first slave world they liberated, the humans found the Chitrani. They were insect-like beings with hard shells and many legs. The Vorathians had used them as miners. They worked in darkness until they died. No one had ever cared about them. The human soldiers broke open the mines. They brought the Chitrani into the sunlight. Many of them had never seen the sky. A human sergeant knelt before an old Chitrani who could barely walk. He offered water. He offered food. He spoke gently. Even though they had no common language, the old Chitrani looked at him with ancient eyes. Then, slowly, he touched the sergeant's face. The Chitrani had no word for what he felt. He had never known kindness from anyone except his own kind. The sergeant helped him stand. "Come on, old friend. You are free now." The Chitrani joined the war. They were not great fighters, but they built things. They repaired ships. They created weapons. They worked alongside humans with a loyalty that never wavered. On another world, the humans found the Delphinae. They were water beings who swam in the deep oceans. The Vorathians had drained their seas to build factories. The Delphinae were dying. There were only a few thousand left. The humans stopped the factories. They filled the seas again. It took 2 years. But they saved the Delphinae from extinction. The Delphinae were brilliant scientists. They understood things about energy and physics that humans had never imagined. They shared their knowledge freely. Together, human and Delphinae scientists created new technologies that made the fleet even stronger. On a third world, the humans found the Gethor. They were made of living stone. Silicon beings that thought slowly, but lived forever. The Vorathians had tried to destroy them because they could not be controlled. Only a few hundred survived, hidden in deep caves. The Gethor were ancient. They remembered things from before the Vorathian Empire existed. They had wisdom that took centuries to gather. They became advisors and teachers. The 4 species formed the coalition. Humans, Chitrani, Delphinae, Gethor. 4 peoples united against one enemy. 4 peoples who had suffered and now fought back together. General Cole met with leaders from each species. She was the only human they would follow. She was the only human who had been there from the beginning. "We are not conquerors," she told them. "We are liberators. We do not want to rule anyone. We want to be free and to help others be free." The coalition grew. More species joined. More worlds were liberated. The Vorathian Empire was crumbling. High Commander Thelvax tried everything. He sent assassins after Cole. They failed. Human soldiers protected her with their lives. He tried to make peace. Cole refused. There could be no peace without justice. He tried to rally his people, but his people had seen the videos from Kethral. They had heard the stories. Many of them no longer believed in the Empire. Finally, Thelvax made his last stand on the fortress world of Vor Prime. It was the most heavily defended place in the Empire. 100 ships, 1,000,000 soldiers, weapons that could crack moons. The coalition came with 500 ships and 3 million soldiers from 4 species. The Battle of Vor Prime lasted 2 weeks. It was the bloodiest battle of the war. Humans fought beside Chitrani. Delphinae commanded ships. Gethor manned the heavy guns. They fought as one. The fortress fell. Human soldiers found High Commander Thelvax hiding in a bunker beneath his command center. He was surrounded by dead guards who had tried to protect him. He held a weapon, but his hands were shaking too much to use it. A young human captain walked toward him. She had lost her parents in the attack on Earth. She had lost her brother in the first space battle. She had every reason to kill him. She took the weapon from his hands. "High Commander Thelvax, you are under arrest for crimes against humanity and crimes against the peoples of the coalition." Thelvax stared at her. "Why do you not just kill me? I would kill you." The captain smiled coldly. "I know. That is why we are better than you." They brought Thelvax to the Times Remembrance Asterisk. They brought him to General Cole. She was sitting in her command chair. She looked old. She looked tired. But her eyes were still sharp. Thelvax was pushed to his knees before her. Guards stood on either side. Cole studied him for a long moment. This was the face she had dreamed about for 15 years. This was the creature who had killed her daughter, her grandson, 2 billion of her people. "Do you remember the order you gave?" she asked quietly. 15 years ago. Standard subjugation protocol. Those were your words. Thelvax said nothing. Standard, Cole repeated. It was standard to you. Routine. Just another planet to crush. Just another species to enslave. She stood up slowly. Her bones hurt. Everything hurt. But she walked to stand before him. You did not even know our names. You did not know our history. You did not care. We were just numbers to you. Resources. Animals. She leaned down to look into his 4 eyes. And now your empire is falling. Your fleets are destroyed. Your slaves are free. Your people are turning against you. Everything you built is becoming dust. Thelvax finally spoke. His voice was rough. Kill me then. Take your revenge. Cole shook her head slowly. No. Death is too easy. Death is escape. She straightened up. You will stand trial. You will face every species you have wronged. You will hear the stories of everyone you have hurt, and then you will spend the rest of your life in a cell, watching the coalition build something beautiful on the ashes of your empire. She turned away from him. Take him away. He is no longer important. Chainer, the guards dragged Thelvax out. He screamed and cursed. He demanded death. He begged for death. No one listened. When he was gone, Cole sat back down in her chair. Her aide approached carefully. General, the Senate has activated the Celestial Hammer. They are threatening to destroy Earth. Cole closed her eyes for a moment. The Celestial Hammer. A battle station the size of a moon. A weapon that could crack planets. Send them a message, she said. What message, General? Cole opened her eyes. They were cold and calm. Tell them this. We have already lost Earth once. We survived. We built a fleet. We crushed an empire. If they destroy Earth, we will not stop. We will not mourn. We will simply find every member of their Senate. We will find their families. We will find their homeworld. And we will make sure that in 1,000 years, no one remembers the Vorathians ever existed. She stood up. Tell them that Adrian Cole does not make empty threats. Tell them to look at what is left of their empire and decide if they want to test me. The message was sent. 3 days later, the Celestial Hammer was surrendered to coalition forces. The war was almost over. The Hall of Conquests was the largest building on the Vorathian homeworld. It had stood for 300 years. Inside, the walls were covered with trophies from conquered peoples. Weapons, flags, artifacts, sacred objects stolen from 42 species. Today, the hall was full of humans. General Adrian Cole walked slowly down the center aisle. She used a cane now. Her 78th year had not been kind to her body. Every step hurt. But she walked straight and proud. Behind her came representatives from the coalition, Chitrani, Delphine, Geth-Or, and the other species who had joined the fight, 11 peoples in total, all free, all standing together. At the end of the hall, on his knees, waited Emperor Vethkal III. He was the 17th ruler of the Vorathian Empire. He had inherited a galaxy-spanning power. Now, he ruled nothing. Cole stopped before him. She looked down at his bowed head. He was young, only 40 years old. He had been a child when the war began. He had never given an order to attack Earth. He had simply been born into the wrong family at the wrong time. But he wore the crown. He carried the responsibility. Rise, Cole said. The Emperor stood slowly. He could not meet her eyes. His hands trembled. Your empire is finished, Cole said. Your fleets are destroyed. Your armies have surrendered. Your conquered peoples are free. The Vorathian Empire exists only in history books now. The Emperor nodded. He knew all of this. We have terms, Cole continued. The coalition has agreed on them. They are not negotiable. She pulled out a document and began to read. First, the Vorathian Empire is dissolved. There will be no empire. Your people will govern only their own homeworld. Nothing more. The Emperor flinched but said nothing. Second, all stolen property will be returned. Every artifact in this hall, every treasure taken from conquered worlds, everything goes back. Cole looked around the hall. 300 years of theft and murder, displayed like prizes. Third, War criminals will be tried by coalition courts. High Commander Thelvax, your generals, your governors, anyone who gave orders that killed innocents. They will face justice. And fourth, Cole paused. This was the hardest one, the one she had thought about for 15 years. You will build a memorial. Here, on your homeworld. You will record the name of every human who died in the attack on Earth. 2 billion names. And every Vorathian child will learn those names. They will learn what their ancestors did. They will learn the price of cruelty. Forever. The Emperor finally looked up. Is that all? No. Cole reached into her uniform and pulled out the photograph. The same photograph she had carried for 15 years. Her daughter. Her grandson. Smiling at the camera. You will include these two names in a special place. Maria Cole, James Cole, my daughter and my grandson. They were in Mumbai when your ships came. They were at the market, buying fruit. They died holding each other. Her voice cracked slightly. Just for a moment. I want your children to see their faces. I want your children to know that they were real people, not numbers, not animals. Real people who loved and laughed and dreamed, and your empire took them away for nothing. She put the photograph back in her uniform. Those are our terms. Sign the document. The Emperor signed. His hand shook as he wrote his name. When he was finished, he looked up at Cole. What happens now? He asked. Now you live with what your ancestors did. Now you rebuild. Now you become something better. She turned to walk away, then stopped. That is the mercy we offer. The mercy your empire never gave anyone else. She walked out of the Hall of Conquests. She did not look back. That night, there was a celebration on the flagship Times Remembrance Asterisk. Soldiers from all 4 founding species danced and laughed and cried together. The war was over. They had won. General Cole did not attend the celebration. She stood alone on the observation deck, looking at the stars. An aide found her there, a young man who had served with her for 10 years. General, the Coalition Council wants to talk to you. They have been discussing titles. Titles? Some want to call you Empress. Others want Protector of the Coalition. There are at least a dozen suggestions. Cole laughed softly. It was not a happy sound. I am not an Empress. I am not a Protector. I am a soldier. I did my duty. Nothing more. The aide hesitated. General, you built the fleet. You won the war. You created the coalition. You are the most important human who has ever lived. People want to honor you. Cole turned to look at him. Her eyes were tired. So tired. Then honor me by building something good. Schools. Hospitals. Parks where children can play without fear. Make the galaxy a place where no one has to do what I did. She looked back at the stars. I have spent 15 years fighting. I have spent 15 years hating. I have sent millions of soldiers to their deaths. I have done terrible things to defeat terrible people. Her voice grew soft. I want to go home now. I want to see Earth again. I want to smell the mountains and feel the rain. She touched the glass, leaving a faint print. My daughter loved the rain. She used to dance in it. She would spin around with her arms out, laughing at the sky. The aide did not know what to say. Tell the council that I am retiring, Cole said. Tell them to choose someone else to lead. Someone younger. Someone who still believes in tomorrow. One Friday, 6 months later, General Adrian Cole returned to Earth. She went to a small valley in the Swiss Alps. Once, Geneva had been nearby. Now, there was only the memorial. A wall stretching for miles, covered with names. 2 billion names. The names of the dead. Cole found her daughter's name. She found her grandson's name. She stood there for a long time, her hand pressed against the cold stone. They built her a house near the memorial, a small house with a garden. She lived there quietly. She did not give speeches. She did not attend ceremonies. She just lived. She planted flowers. She read books. She watched the sun rise and set. Sometimes, When it rained, she would go outside and lift her face to the sky, remembering her daughter. Visitors came sometimes, coalition leaders, old soldiers, young people who wanted to meet the legend. She spoke with all of them. She was kind. She was patient. But she never talked about the war. "The war is over," she would say. "Let it stay in the past." On the morning of her 79th birthday, General Adrienne Cole died peacefully in her sleep. She was found with the photograph in her hand. Her daughter, her grandson, still together after all these years. The funeral was attended by millions. Representatives from every species in the coalition came to pay respects. Ships from 100 worlds filled the sky above the Swiss Alps. But Cole had left clear instructions. No statues, no holidays, no songs. Just a small plaque beneath the memorial wall, where the names of the dead stretched toward the horizon. The plaque was simple, just a few words. Asterisk, they struck first. We finished it. May no one ever have to do so again. Asterisk. Years passed. Decades. Centuries. The coalition grew. New species joined. Old hatreds faded. The galaxy became peaceful. But every child, human and otherwise, learned about the woman who had refused to become a monster. The woman who had won a war with courage and mercy. The woman who had taught the universe that true strength was not in destruction, but in the choice to be better. And on Earth, in a small valley in the Swiss Alps, flowers bloomed around a simple grave. Rain fell softly on the stone, and somewhere, in a place beyond stars and time, a mother and daughter danced together in the storm. The story was over, but the lesson would last forever.